Hi everyone! This week I'm going to do a square card, which is kind of exciting. It's my first square card that I've shown you. And I'm using some of the new cross-stitch Dazzles along with the Roses in Harmony papers and ribbons. So it's a simple and easy card, but I think it's really elegant and pretty at the same time. So let's get started. Some of the things I'm using on my card are the Roses in Harmony paper pack, the cross-stitch Dazzles, they come in gold and silver, and the Roses in Harmony ribbon set, plus a few other small items. Alright, let's get started on the card. Now because I'm going to make this card a square, I have to cut a little bit off the side of my card. So I'm going to make it a 5-inch square, so I need to cut along the 5-inch line. And the simplest way is to use my metal edged ruler and my retractable knife here. And it looks like I may need to put one more pass. There we go. And a perfectly square card. Now I'm covering the front of my card with this beautiful rose corner paper, and it's important to note that I have my fold along the top of the card, and I want my rose paper to be like this because I want the butterfly to end up right side up first of all. And I'm going to scoot the card over on the back of it about 3/4 of an inch so that I don't cut off the butterfly. So, if you picture where your butterfly is going to land, I'm going to go ahead and spread my glue stick on here. Always do an X in the middle for good measure. And make sure that your fold is along this edge of the paper. And I'm just going to double check where it's landing here. Okay, so about right here is where I'm going to glue it. And now I'm just going to trim off the excess paper with my retractable knife here. I usually just try to line it up with my ruler using just touching the paper with my knife against that card edge. That way I know I'm pretty much flush against the edge of the card. Okay, and one more cut. Alright, so here is my card, and there's my cute little butterfly in the corner, and that's just what I wanted. I'm using the gold cross-stitch Dazzles sheet. I think it goes pretty well with these Roses in Harmony paper. So the first thing I want to do is to peel off this round embroidery hoop. And because it's kind of got some thin edges, it's going to be a little bit hard to set down perfectly on your paper. So what I do is I turn it sticky side up. And you can also do this technique with other thin dazzle line images such as words and small borders and such. Then I'm going to take my red paper, which is going to be the back of the embroidery hoop, and I'm just going to carefully place it covering the whole circle except for that top little part, which I don't really need covered. That way I know that my circle is perfectly flat, there's no distortion, and simply just trim around the edge of your circle now with some scissors. And that's pretty much this is pretty much the easiest backing of a dazzle you'll probably do, since it's got some nice, simple, clean edges. And we're done with our embroidery hoop. Now I'm going to place You're So Sweet in the middle of the hoop. And you'll see, I'm going to start with the largest word here. And sometimes, when I don't want to mess with sticking it to my fingers, I stick it on the tip of my knife here, and it seems to hold it pretty well so that I can see what I'm doing. So I know the sweet's going to go under it, so I'm going to just place this right in the middle. So, and there we go. Now I did get a little bubble, but these are so easy to peel off that it doesn't even matter. Just smooth it right out. There we go. And now I'm going to put the You're and the Sweet. So I've also added the little heart and the X's here for a cute little touch and just to fill some of the blank space. And this is going to end up right in the middle of the card. But first we have a few other steps to do. I want to use this pretty ribbon border across the bottom of my card, but first I'm going to back it with the red paper so that the red will show through and be a nice contrast with the border. So if I can get this to come off, there we go. And when you're placing it on the paper, try and find an edge that you can, a straight edge you can place it on so that you don't have to do extra cutting, which is what I like to do, is find the easiest way to place it. Okay. Now you can either cut this edge with scissors or with your knife and ruler. Depending on your preference. I'm just going to use this because I think it's faster for me. Okay. Snip that with scissors. Retract the knife, always. Okay, so, ooh, some nice and shiny bling here at the bottom. And it looks like this border is just a perfect length. Now I've also cut a piece of green that I want to put underneath, kind of below my red border, so it'll look like that. Alright, I'm going to glue those down. Now I've taken some of this, I think it's a 1/4 inch wide sheer red ribbon, and I want to place it across the card right around there so that it goes behind the top of this embroidery hoop. And then I'm just going to add a bow in the middle. So of course I'm going to use my zips, which are, if you're not familiar, it's a sticky glue line on a roll, and it comes with 2 strips rolled up here. So I'm going to trim this to size. Put that away. Now this is sticky side up. I'm not sure if you can see the glue line, but it's right in the center. And it's important that you kind of can see it through the backing so you know where it's going. And it's helpful that I have this straight line across the top to guide me. So I'm going to try and get it kind of straight across there. Start on this side and just kind of eyeball it to go straight across. Okay, and just press down, and when you peel off, there we go, you'll have that sticky strip exposed, and you can just lay your ribbon right on top of it. Okay. Pressing down on that. Get it nice and adhered, and then turn it to the back and trim off the ends. Okay, now I'm going to make my center bow, and to make that I'm going to combine this swirl ribbon with this narrower ribbon to kind of make a fuller bow. So to do my bow, I'm going to take the ribbon in both hands and kind of make 2 loops. About that size. You're going to want enough so that when you cross them, fold this loop over and through the hole. Make sure you've grabbed all the right pieces. It can be a little tricky, especially with two ribbons at once. So I do some adjusting here for the length and size of my bow. And to do that, I kind of hold all 4 sides at once, and you kind of have to pull on one side of each loop to get the knot to tighten in the center. And if you've tied enough ribbons, you will kind of know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice and fluffy. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to put it on the top, kind of like right there, and I'm going to cut the ends. Now before I attach my ribbon, I still have to stick on my greeting here, so I have placed the foam tape on the back and just centering it right about there. Now if you wanted to convert this into a Christmas card, you could kind of use this circle to act as an ornament. And the bow does help to give it a festive look. Okay, so for the bow, I'm going to use Zots to attach it to the card, because that's just the easiest. And since it's a thicker bow, you're gonna want to use several Zots, the sticky glue dots, to stick it on. And if it keeps falling off on you, just add a little bit of tacky glue in there, and that should make it nice and permanent. Now, I forgot about this, but this is another option. The 3D Zots are made for thicker items, and they are a lot stronger. So let me show you. They have these larger Zots. Now, you want to make sure that they don't, show, the glue doesn't show beyond your bow. So you can actually cut them. So I'm just going to use this half of my 3D Zot on my knot, on the back of my knot, just pressing it to the back of the knot here. And that's nice and dimensional so that when I stick it to the top here, there's going to be a lot more glue holding that on. Okay, I like how that looks. Now I want to use 2 of these flower dazzles to kind of frame that centerpiece. But first I'm going to back it on this red paper, which I've cut a scrap of. I'm going to try and place it so that the swirls don't land on the paper. At least most of them don't land on the paper. And when I'm cutting around here, I just want to peel off the extra swirl, cut underneath it, just to keep the backing underneath the petals of the flower. Alright, so I put my flowers on either side of the You're So Sweet embroidery hoop, and at the top here I backed a small heart dazzle with the same red, and then on either side of the ribbon I added these small little diamond kind of stitching accents. So I think we're done with the front of the card. For the inside, what I'm going to do first is cover the inside with the same rose paper that I have on the outside. And I'm just going to use this kind of neutral versus the decorated side in case I want to write on it. It won't be too busy. So I'm just going to keep it about 1/8 to 1/16 inch away from the fold so that it'll fold nice and flat when I close the card. Okay, press that down and then flip it over and trim off the excess just like on the front. Now I'm taking the second long ribbon border here from the Dazzles sheet and I'm going to back it with this pretty green paper. So just setting it straight along the edge here. And then I'll cut this out and then I'll add a few more things to the card and then we'll be done. Now I really like this striped border on the side of this page, so I'm going to cut about 5 inches of it to glue on the top of the inside of my card. And I'm just going to cut around this scalloped edge so that it'll look like a nice little border. So here I've got a 2 inch by 2 inch square of the green and I'm going to just line it up on my cutting mat diagonally and cut it into 2 equal triangles. And then I'm going to take it to my card. I'm going to glue the triangles on either corner here. And I've also backed these other 2 flower dazzles. I'm going to place one in each of the corners. Okay, so here's my inside done, and I've placed the flowers on each of the corners. I think it makes it show up better with the gold. I did add a little swirl here in the middle, and then across the top, of course, I've got my pretty scalloped border with the gold dazzle ribbon border, and that's backed with the same green as this. So the card is pretty much finished, and I hope you enjoyed the little tutorial. This one's pretty sweet and simple. And the dazzles are really what do most of the work for you. They've got the greeting and all the different embellishments that you need to make this card look really pretty and really special. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again next week. In the savings bundle this week we have the Roses in Harmony paper pack. So just to take a look at some of these fabulous papers. There are 12 papers, so there's 2 of each of these 6 designs. This, of course, is the favorite. It's got the beautiful rose embellished corner. Then we have a more neutral green dot, a small red swirl. This is a really pretty music note page with a lace and striped side border. Then we have the dictionary text with a really pretty lace border with some delicate swirls, and then an all-over stripe which kind of combines all of the previous papers together in one. On the package, since it's hot off the press, you always get a project idea for a scrapbook page and a card, and on the back a scrapbook spread, as well as images of each of the papers you're getting in the package and another card idea and matching products that you might want to look into. Next, we have the Roses in Harmony ribbon set. And as you can see, these ribbons work perfectly with all the papers in the set. There's even a cute little music note twill, which I think is adorable. Some miniature gingham ribbon, some red crepe, some black rickrack, and a variety of other sheer and solid ribbons. So there are 12 ribbons in the set, and each of them are 3 feet long. And then finally, you're going to get a sheet of the cross-stitch Dazzles, one in the silver and one in the gold. So you can kind of make a lot of cards with these, depending on how many stickers you use on each card. But these all together are what's in the bundle, so I hope you enjoy.